Hello, everybody. This is Mickey Lynn Larson-Olson, aka Q Patriot, January 6th and May 376303. And so I'm just sitting down for my one meal of the day. I made homemade English muffins. There is a part one to this. Unfortunately, I guess I had too much stuff stored on my phone, and so it went out. So anyway, I did show everybody in the part one. This is my one meal of the day. I am making a breakfast sandwich with sausage and cheese and my homemade English muffin. So again, for me, I go to ChatGPT. So for this particular one, I don't know her name, but it come on my screen, young lady from Britain that was making English muffins. And so her was my jumping off point. All recipes are a jumping off point to me. And so I'm trying to remember what she did, okay? So she did 1.5 cup of lukewarm milk. When they say lukewarm, that means like 105 to 115 degrees. You don't want to go in less than that, or your yeast is not going to activate. And you don't want to go more than that, or you're going to burn your yeast and it's not going to work. It's going to kill the yeast. So she put that. So she put the lukewarm milk, and she put she put 1 teaspoon of sugar. And now you can use sugar, honey. I put a little extra honey. I wanted a little extra sweet, so I put a little extra honey. Gotta be careful with that because it is extra liquid. But because she wasn't working with freshly milled flour, and I was working with freshly milled flour, and I've been working with freshly milled flour for a bit now, so I know that freshly milled flour is thirstier. So you either going to have to put a little more milk, or you're going to have to put a little more something, your liquid. So I decided to put a little more honey on there. And so she did that. So, and because you need some sort of sugar in order to activate your yeast. Okay, so I let mine sit for 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes. You're waiting for it to get frothy, and that means your yeast is good and it is working, it's activated. So she did that. She let it sit, and then she put 4 cups of flour. Like I said, I used 3.5 cups of freshly milled hard white wheat, and 1/2 cup of Bob's red meal smelt is I used. And okay. So, again, because you're using freshly milled flour, you have to do things a little differently. One, because the gluten structure is different. I do not use flour at the store because most of it's enriched or it's bleached. And enriched means they've taken out what God put into the wheat. They've taken it out and they put something in its place, synthetic, something not real in its place. And I believe that's why I don't think people are gluten intolerant. I think they can't tolerate the artificial things they've done to the wheat, and also glyphosate. So I think it's the problem with the glyphosate, because think about it for a second. So if they spray the fields with glyphosate, well, one, it gets into the soil, right? And then when they till it up, they're going to get glyphosate in the flour. When you till up the wheat, you're going to get it. So anything that has wheat, you know, your cereals, everything, be careful because a lot of times it's got glyphosate because it's being tilled from lands that use Roundup. Now, with the ancient grains, you can find, which is one in Iowa called Ancient Grains that I buy a lot from, and they're a regenerative farm, and they've always just stayed true, and they don't manipulate, and you know, no glyphosate. You're not going to worry about that. So anyway, that's what I'm looking for. Non-GMO. I'm looking for non-GMO organic, if I can find it. And so anyway, that's what I got. And okay, so you did that, and then you put the flour in there, right? And you're gonna mix that up just like to get it together, and then you're gonna knead it. So it's hard to kind of explain to people kneading and what needs to happen. Now, a lot of times I will do the window pane test, but sometimes if I feel like the dough is good to go, and even if I can't get it to pass the test, I just roll with it. So a lot of like cooking and baking is you gotta trust your own instincts, okay? Just take a chance and trust your instincts. And so I just felt like the dough was good. And so I use my Bosch BOSCH. A really good friend of mine got me that, and so I use it all the time. And so, but I have my KitchenAid. Love my KitchenAid also. And anyway, so you're gonna need that 5-10 minutes or until you think it's good. I mean, you know, you can do the window pane test, which is just like you're gonna don't pull it too hard because it will break, but just pull it up, and you're just basically trying to make sure that you're going to be able to work with that dough. It's not going to be too dry. I did add a little bit of extra milk. You would just look at it, and if you feel like you need a little extra milk, you really should do that, especially with freshly milled flour because it's thirsty. So with the freshly milled flour, oh, the recipe also called for butter. Okay. The yeast and the butter, and she used just a pinch of salt. And so, but with the salt and the butter and the yeast, you're going to hold off on those with the freshly milled flour because, well, the yeast is in with milk, but because you want to make sure that give about 15 minutes. I give it half an hour for my freshly milled flour to soak up the liquid. So otherwise, if you don't do that, you're going to have, like, they'll be really dense. Whatever you're making will be really dense. So I give it like a half an hour to soak in all that. I ended up putting everything in there and forgot about the fact that I probably should have held back, at a minimum, the butter. At a minimum, I should have waited to put the butter in there. It was melted butter, and you have to do it cool. Don't melt it and then throw it in there, because you're going to kill your yeast. You got to get it to a lukewarm 105 to 115. Got to do that with the butter too. And melt the butter. So anyway, because the butter like coats the gluten in the, so basically it makes it a little more challenging for it to rise, is basically what that is. So you just hold off on the butter until you're until after you've let it set for about half an hour. Okay, so, but I also, because of the me using the smelt, I needed to strengthen the dough and the gluten structure, and so I used some Vital Wheat gluten, some Vital Wheat gluten again, and I got that from Red Bob's Red Mill too. And so I got that. And also another thing to do to help with the liquids and also the gluten structure is egg yolks. So I did 2 egg yolks and I took out 3 of the tablespoons of milk. Now, I ended up putting all that back into it, but at this stage, you want to wait and see. You might not need it because it really does depend on what flour you're using. So, but I took it out. I ended up putting it back and a little bit more, probably about 2 extra tablespoons of milk. Anyway, so, and then after I did that, and you'll knead it all up and you're going to let it sit. Because I'm working with freshly milled flour, I don't have air in my house, so it's hot. So because of that, it rises a lot faster. You don't want to overproof, especially when you're working with freshly milled flour, because it will deflate when you go to try to cook it. It's going to deflate because your yeast, it needs something to eat to get going, and so you have to make sure it's going to last until you're done. So anyway, so I added 2 egg whites, just the egg whites. Did I say egg yolks? I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what I say until after I'm done. Egg whites. If I said egg yolks, blow me off, ignore me. Egg whites. I used 2 egg whites because they were small eggs. If you have large eggs, then just 1. But I only had small eggs, so I did 2. Okay, and that's all helps with strengthening the gluten structure when you're working with freshly milled flour. Okay, so then, yeah. So it also, because my house is warm, it, just goes faster. So usually people do an hour to 2 hours, but I think it was like 45 minutes to an hour that you're going to let it do that first rise. It'll do a first rise, and when it doubles, you'll punch it down, and then you will you'll roll it. You don't want to roll it thin. Like a lot of things, you're going to roll it thin, right? You don't want to do that with this. You want it to be about this thick for your English muffins, okay? So you want it to be pretty thick. And I used to use the cup, just like the lady just used a glass cup to cut out the circles. That's what I did. And then you'll cut them, and then you'll take whatever's left and make another ball and roll it again. It's about that thickness, and then until you've got all the circles that you can make. So, and then you're going to let that set until it gets a little puffier, probably a half hour to 45 minutes or so, like that. Again, don't overproof, especially when you're working with freshly milled flour. And then after that, so you're going to take a pan and you're going to put either, Selena something flour? I don't know. I use cornmeal. And again, I got the cornmeal I also got from Bob's Red Mill. So, and I get that on Amazon. So I put the cornmeal on the pan, right? Well, I only had aluminum. I try not to cook on aluminum, so I laid down some parchment paper, non-bleached parchment paper. I laid that down, and then I put the cornmeal on there, and then you're just gonna coat. You're just gonna keep tossing your dough that's already cut into a circle, and you're going to keep tossing that and get it all coated up real good with the cornmeal or the Selena flour. I don't know. I can't remember what they said. Some kind of flour. But I used cornmeal. Anyway, and then you're going to let it sit. Once you do, Okay, once you've done coated it all, you're gonna let it set. Once you've done the coated and everything, that's when you're going to let it sit for like 30, 45 minutes till it puffs up a little bit. And then I use a cast iron. So when you're using a cast iron, you're going to want to warm it up. It holds the heat real good. So I put it on medium-low heat for about 10 minutes before I started. And then it took quite a bit. I'm not going to lie. It took probably like 15. They said 7 to 8 minutes, but it took me longer. Just kind of go by how it's looking. I wanted them golden brown, so it took me quite a while to get them there. And then, you could put them in the oven. It was like 350. You can do that also. I can't remember how long. Again, I just go to ChatGPT and say, I want to make some English muffins. What temperature do I put the oven at and for how long? And it will tell you. So anyway, but I chose to cook them with my cast iron. I'm really happy with how they turned. They really are yummalicious, yum yum. I'm really happy with how my little breakfast sandwich turned out today. Now, where I was at when my phone said, you've got too much crap on here, girlfriend. You got to get rid of some of this stuff. So I had to get rid of some stuff, but I was talking about my awesome Chief Dawson. She come over to get some leftover mac and cheese and that I had made the other day, and they had some ham on it. And she gave me some raspberry jalapeno jelly, or I don't know if it's jam or jelly, and a plum jalapeno. And I guess her family didn't want to eat it. So anyway, oh my goodness, I might have to try this tomorrow. I might have to do the whole under the sink and water trick for this one, because I can't get it open. Anyway, I'll get it open, but I don't think I'm going to be able to try that today. Now I'll try that tomorrow from my awesome Chief Dawson. But I did put some that I just put some butter on there. And this is the strawberry jelly I get from Thrive Market. Now, Thrive Market doesn't sell any items that are banned in other countries. Now, so put me some butter on there. I use Tillamook butter. I'm not sponsored by anybody, just so you know. I just like to tell people what I'm using, so if they're trying to figure out what are going to work for them. Can you hear that crank? Oh my God, right? It's great like that. But this is what when you're having English muffin, right? Oh. Oh, nice and crunchy, huh? Put in a toaster, just like you would if you got English muffins from the store. Cook them up, but you'll put them in the toaster. Once you're done, I'm really proud of myself. I meant to put some of my Texas Pete on my fellow Maha peeps. Don't come at me for my Texas Pete. Don't come at me. Actually, yeah, don't come at me. I don't have another substitute for my Texas Pete. Making changes where I can. So, anyway, I'm really happy. I will definitely be making English muffins again. I'm really happy with how they turned out. So, okay, before I say goodbye to all y'all, whoever's watching this, You know, I'm a veteran, 21 years Air Force, Iraq War veteran. We've got a bunch of traitors inside of our government. Senators and Congress people that are traitors. The senators that won't do the right thing with the Save America Act, even though over 80% of the American people on both sides of the aisle want it. Now you've got the Congress actually did a law that includes being partners, our military being partners with the state of Israel, which are war criminals. They're war criminals. And they're increasingly not having the support of the American people. Even Charlie Kirk, he said, I'm rethinking this whole Israel thing. I'm rethinking it. Because people will learn that land was taken from Palestine and given to the Rothschilds, which are Satanists. They go by Zionist Jews as another way to trick people. And they name that land Israel as another way to trick people. But the fact of the matter is, Jacob's name became Israel. Jacob became Israel. So that land was the land of Jacob's ancestors. And did you know that it is illegal, it is against the law for the people of the state of Israel to take a DNA test? Did you know that? Because guess where the actual DNA proof of the DNA linkage to the Hebrew Jews. The Hebrew Jews. Guess who carries the DNA, the proof of it? The Palestinians. The Palestinians are the ones that have the blood link to the Hebrew Jews. And the Palestinians were kind, generous people. And they lived with the Muslims and the Israelites, and not the Israelites, it weren't the Israelites, but they all lived together. They all lived in the same land. And Palestine welcomed these people, and they committed genocide against them. And I've got a little bit of a cramp going on. So anyway, like my shirt? This is my Tom McDonald Proud to Be a Problem shirt. He is my favorite singer of all time. I have another shirt just like it that was signed by many of my J6ers. And for the most part, it stays in my USA room. I did wear it on my trip recently. I need to wash it, but I got to watch it special because I don't want everybody's names to come off because it's been signed by many of my fellow J6ers. And families of J6ers and those that are staunch, have been staunch supporters and done so much for us. So, have signed it. So, anyway. Yeah. Commingling our military. So, but it's just logistics. It's just look. We shouldn't allow any foreign government. I don't care if they're our best friend. I don't care if we sleep next to them. I don't care if we're bumping uglies with them, okay? I don't give a shit. We should not have our military commingled in any way, shape, or form with the foreign government and it being written in a law. That was the verbiage per Bibi Netanyahu, which just crazy conspiracy thought, just, don't take it down, YouTube, don't take it down. Just crazy conspiracy thought. I saw Bibi Netanyahu's mask. So that's not Bibi Netanyahu. He is gone. He was a war criminal who committed genocide. And Netanyahu wasn't even his real name. He used that name to make himself sound Jewish. Okay? I can't remember what his name was. Somebody just said it. I can't remember. Anyway, no, I'm not okay with this. It's treason. As far as I'm concerned, every single congressperson that signed and voted yes on that bullshit, putting us in bed, our military in bed with the state of Israel's military, committed treason. And there are traitors. Anyone that certified the fraudulent election of 2020, in my opinion, is a traitor. And you'll find that most of these people making these decisions also certified the fraudulent election of 2020. John Thune certified the fraudulent election of 2020. So wonder why you can't get the Save America Act passed? Because those rhino freaking pieces of dog shit, like John Thune, certified the fraudulent election of 2020. And they voted John Thune behind closed doors as a secret ballot to that position. I would love to see people have to be elected to that position. Like, they shouldn't be able to vote that have so much power, like that position, Senate Majority Leader has so much power. They should not be able to, it should have to be elected, like you vote, well, if the Republicans win, this is who I want. You know what I mean? And so anyway, but yeah, I'm not happy about this. The only thing is, you know what will piss me off even more? What will really piss me off? If the Senate is refusing and they go on vacation for 2 freaking weeks, bastards, they go on vacation, right? And they don't pass the Save America Act, even though over 80% of the American people want it. But if those bastards come back and pass this freaking bill, putting us in bed, our military in bed with the state of Israel, I hope the military comes and arrests all of them. I hope the second they do that, the military says that's treason. That is treason. And you all are going to be facing military tribunals. And if you are found guilty, you'll be executed by our military, and you will deserve nothing less. You were in bed with the state of Israel that's committing war crimes, crimes against humanity, and not only that, you're taking money for it. So that makes you a traitor. And President Kennedy warned about the Zionist American Council. He warned about it, and he said they needed to register as foreign agents. President Kennedy said that. So what they do, they changed the name to AIPAC. And they're still not foreign agents, yet they control our government, and these corrupt, greedy politicians. The state of Israel, through the Mossad, has blackmail on them for doing evil things to children. So I hope the military arrests these traitors very soon. I really do. I guess they're trying to keep me from talking. It's not going to work. Again, this is Mickey Lynn Larson-Olson, a.k.a. Q Patriot, January 6th and May 376303, where we go one, we go all. The best is yet to come. It's yummalicious, yum time. Y'all have a great day. God bless.